So, what if I told you that the darkest, most hidden corner of the internet wasn't created by some shadowy hacker in a basement, but by the US government itself, all to protect its own spies? It's true. This was a tool for espionage that they unleashed on the world, and in doing so, they accidentally created a digital underworld with a really dangerous and totally unexpected legacy.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the secret origins of this whole network, then we'll break down exactly how it works. After that, we'll dive into the criminal empires it spawned, and finally, we'll look at the massive challenge it poses for, well, all of us today.
To really get the dark web, you have to rewind the clock. And we're not going to some hacker convention. Nope, we're going deep into the shadowy world of international espionage.
This timeline really lays it all out. Back in the 90s, US spies were getting caught because their online communications were being traced. So the US Naval Research Lab had a problem. They needed a way for their agents to communicate without leaving any kind of digital footprint. Their solution? The Tor Project. This wasn't some accident or a glitch. It was designed as a weapon.
And this gets to the heart of the paradox. Think about it. If only American spies used this secret network, hostile agencies could just monitor that network to find them, right? They'd stick out like a sore thumb. So the US government did something pretty radical. They released it to the public. They created a massive digital crowd for their agents to just blend right into.
So, how does this technology actually create this digital cloak of invisibility? Let's break down how these layers of anonymity are actually built.
First things first, let's be super clear about the regular internet. Your internet service provider, the company you pay for your Wi-Fi, is basically a silent watcher. It logs every single site you visit, every connection you make. And deleting your browser history, that does absolutely nothing. Your ISP knows. This is just brilliant. It's how Tor works. Imagine your data is a secret message, and you put it inside a box. Then you put that box inside another box, and that one inside a third box. This package gets sent to a random computer somewhere in the world, which can only open the outermost box to see the next address. It sends it along, and the next computer does the same. No single point in that whole chain ever knows the full path, not where it came from and not where it's ultimately going.
And those multiple layers of encryption? That's exactly where the name comes from. It's just like an onion. You have to peel back layer after layer. It's why the Tor browser logo is an onion, and it's why all those dark websites end in that famous .onion. So you have this incredibly powerful tool of anonymity, designed for spies and activists, but it was almost immediately co-opted, and in doing so, it created a lawless digital frontier. The first and most notorious example was a site called Silk Road. It was basically an Amazon for anything illegal you could possibly imagine. A 26-year-old physics grad named Ross Ulbricht built a billion-dollar empire selling drugs, fake passports, hacking tools, you name it. And it was all paid for with cryptocurrency to try and make it totally untraceable. But here's the thing. He wasn't a ghost. After a 2-year investigation, the FBI's big break came from a single forgotten forum post Ulbricht had made years earlier, trying to promote the site. From there, they were able to connect his online persona to his real-world identity. The final move was pure spycraft. They staged a fight in a public library just to distract him, snatched his open laptop, and caught him logged in, red-handed, to the Silk Road admin panel. But shutting down Silk Road only created a vacuum in the market. A new site, AlphaBay, created by another 26-year-old tech genius, just exploded onto the scene. And it wasn't just a replacement, it was 10 times larger. A true super marketplace for crime. And just like with Silk Road, the downfall of this massive operation came down to a tiny overlooked digital clue. After a system error, the creator accidentally left his personal email address visible in the website's source code for just a few minutes. It was a single, fleeting mistake, but it was all the authorities needed to completely unravel his entire kingdom. So these incredible true stories have, of course, fueled a lot of myths and legends about what really goes on down there. So let's take a second to separate the facts from the Hollywood fiction. First up, the most terrifying legend of the dark web, these things called red rooms, where users can supposedly pay to watch live torture. The reality is, as horrifying as that concept is, there has never been any concrete, public evidence that these sites actually exist. For now, they seem to be just a dark, urban legend.
Okay, what about another classic movie trope? Can you really go online and hire an assassin?
So here's the bottom line. Law enforcement and cybersecurity researchers widely believe that these are just scams. They're set up to take cryptocurrency from people with dark intentions, but there is no record of anyone ever being convicted for actually being a dark web hitman.
So it's pretty clear the dark web isn't just one thing, right? This technology is a classic double-edged sword with two very, very different faces.
On one hand, it's an absolute lifeline. It's used by journalists in authoritarian countries to report the truth, by whistleblowers to expose corruption, and yes, by the very intelligence agents it was originally designed for. But on the other hand, it's a massive catalyst for crime, fueling the trade of stolen data, illegal drugs, and even the NSA hacking tools that led to that global WannaCry ransomware attack.
Which brings us to the final and maybe the most critical question of all. What can anyone possibly do about a place that was specifically designed to be uncontrollable? Look, shutting down the dark web is pretty much impossible. Because it's a decentralized network, there's no central server you can just go and turn off. But that doesn't mean it's a total free-for-all. Instead, experts and governments are focused on strategies like creating dedicated monitoring cells, requiring Know Your Customer or KYC identification for crypto wallets so they can follow the money, and forging international treaties so criminals can't just hide out in another country's jurisdiction. At the end of the day, the dark web forces us all to confront a really fundamental dilemma for the 21st century. In an age of mass surveillance, is total online anonymity a fundamental human right, a tool we need for freedom and dissent? Or is it an uncontrollable risk, a shadow that's just too dangerous for society to afford? The debate, as you can imagine, is far from over.